CEO of the Information and Communication Technology Agency, Canagey, engaged in an interview with the Sri Lankan tech website recently and spoke on the Google Loon project in Sri Lanka. Over the past few weeks, there were numerous questions that were raised regarding ICTA, Google Loon, and the appointment of Canagey to the position of ICTA CEO.
Mr. Chamat Palliapitiya, who is a Sri Lankan born, in Silicon Valley, and he's been with Facebook, and he's very well connected in the valley. He visited Sri Lanka, and he met the Excellency President Maithripala Sirisena, and he said, "What can I do for Sri Lanka?" And then he said, "There is a project like this, which can connect entire country." And the President said, "Go ahead," and that's how it ended up with our agency.
According to Canagey, Sri Lankan-born tech entrepreneur Chamat Palliapitiya met with President Maithripala Sirisena on the 6th of April 2016. However, by the time the meeting took place, the Google Loon balloon had crashed in Sri Lanka. The Loon balloon, which took off from South America, entered the Sri Lankan airspace in February 2016. Now, this was according to a statement made by Canagey to BBC. By the 17th of February, the balloon crashed in Kampala. Incidentally, on the 26th of June 2015, well before the test was initiated, the RAMA Corporation was established. Civil and political activists charged that RAMA Corporation is attempting to engage in other transactions under the guise of the Google Loon project. Let's see what Canagey had to say about RAMA.
RAMA ultimate beneficial owner is Social Capital, which is Chamat Palliapitiya.
Okay.
And he's basically established the company. He's given us documents to that effect, and he has asked his representatives here to form the company and to be seated on the board.
According to an article appeared on the Business Insider on the 10th of November 2015, RAMA Corporation, quote, is already licensed in spectrum in Sri Lanka, end of quote. The article further notes that Chamat plans on molding RAMA into a modern career, one that can do things like easy billing and isn't stuck in a legacy structure. Now, according to the Department of Registrar of Companies, the company, which was registered on the 26th of June 2015, has two directors, namely P. Sivagananathan and Malaka Chaminda Bandara, with one share each. Civil and political activists warn that attempts by RAMA to obtain a frequency on the spectrum may be an attempt to utilize it for a commercial purpose.
We've taken this and we've made representations, and we've asked the TRCSL to make the spectrum available.
Okay.
And but however, there seems to be confusion as to the spectrum of 700 megahertz has not been allocated in the International Telecommunication Union for the purpose of high altitude balloons, which Google Loon is a high altitude balloon. And that's where there is a confusion. So the TRCSL is under the perception that this frequency cannot be allocated for Google Loon. However, there is discussions that are taking place between TRCSL, and also we've asked the Attorney General has also got involved to see what are the legal barriers should TRCSL issue the spectrum. As we are a member country to the international treaty, and we are for ITU, so we cannot violate international treaties.
Meanwhile, a similar request was made by Google India to allocate the frequency band of 700 to 900 megahertz in India for the Loon project was rejected last year, and Google was asked to submit a revised proposal with a different frequency band. Currently in Sri Lanka, this spectrum range is being utilized by VHF television stations.
The 700 megahertz band spectrum is one of the most valuable spectrum bands currently exist. It is currently used for television broadcast. So, for example, some of you will be receiving the signals that you're watching now across the 700 megahertz band. Sri Lanka has signed something called the APT frequency plan, which means that we have committed to transfer this band to mobile terrestrial use and to move all the broadcasting channels that are here to digital broadcasting, which doesn't take that much of, doesn't require that much of frequency. So under current Sri Lankan procedures, what we have is that every mobile operator has a sort of a base entitlement that they get with their license. So that means that everybody has a base allocation in the 900 megahertz band or in the CDMA band, which is the 800 band. And then on top of that, any additional frequencies that they get, they must get it through an auction process. That is, the government sets the rules, it sets a base price, and then the companies have to bid for the frequency. So these frequencies have gone for as much as 3 or 4 million US dollars frequency blocks.
Now, doesn't this once again raise same concerns raised by the civil and political activists over the past weeks regarding the CEO of ICTA? Incidentally, Muhundan Canagey occupies the position of ICTA CEO in the backdrop where a letter was issued by the President providing express instructions to employ Canagey only as a director of ICTA. The government has fallen to a level where they no longer follow instructions issued by the President through a letter. Can you remember a group called ICTA that sent a balloon into the air with the promise of free Wi-Fi? The balloon crashed and so did their promise to provide Wi-Fi. ICTA is a government company. The President has written a letter to ensure that the current CEO of ICTA is only appointed to the position of a director. In such a backdrop, the ministers and others involved name him as the CEO. They have not respected the President's letter. By appointing the CEO in a dubious path, they have put in risk funding which comes from bodies such as the World Bank. Contracts signed between Sri Lanka and them have been placed in jeopardy. We should not forget that there has been a massive amount of money that has been set aside to promote ICT in Sri Lanka. They are trying to use this money and these projects for the benefits of a handful of companies which are also owned by them. They are trying to monopolize this industry. They are trying to increase the taxes on telecommunications and digital television channels.